Urgent. David Ornstein exposes the whole truth about the negotiations for a phenomenal striker, and more. Arteta shocks by considering playing a star as a defender for the first time after Gabriel's injury. To wrap it up, Arsenal's stance on a free transfer for the £33 million striker is revealed amid fresh contract rumors. All this and more you can check out now with the top Arsenal news directly from Emirates Stadium, so make sure to like the video and check your subscription so you don't miss any updates. And without further ado, let's get started. Arsenal are gearing up for a big move in the summer transfer window, and at the top of their shopping list, a top-class center forward. Mikel Arteta knows that if the Gunners want to compete at the highest level, they need a striker who can deliver consistently. Kai Havertz and Gabriel Jesus have had their moments, but injuries have been a major setback, and neither has fully convinced as the long-term solution up front. The dream signing? Alexander Isak. The Swedish goal machine has everything Arteta wants: pace, power, technical ability, and most importantly, goals. But getting him won't be easy. Arsenal are also keeping a close eye on Benjamin Sesko and Viktor Gyokeres, two young strikers who have been making waves in Europe and could fit perfectly into Arteta's system. And don't rule out a fresh move for Ollie Watkins. The Aston Villa star was on Arsenal's radar in January, but a deal never materialized. With Villa flying high, prying him away won't be simple. But if the Gunners come knocking again, Watkins might find it hard to resist a move to the Emirates. One thing's for sure, Arsenal mean business this summer, and a new number 9 is a top priority. David Ornstein provides Hugo Ekitike to Arsenal transfer update. Another name that's been floating around in Arsenal's striker search? Hugo Ekitike. The young French forward, currently tearing it up in the Bundesliga with Eintracht Frankfurt, has been in red-hot form this season. With 13 goals and 4 assists in 26 appearances, he's proving to be a serious talent. Football analyst Ben Mattinson even called him phenomenal, and it's easy to see why. Reports from Arsenal Insider claim the club has already held talks with intermediaries to explore a potential move for Ekitike. Sounds promising, right? Well, not so fast. David Ornstein, one of the most reliable voices in football journalism, has poured a little cold water on the rumors. Speaking on The Athletic's YouTube channel, he admitted he hasn't heard much about Arsenal's real interest in Ekitike. In fact, he suggested this could be a case of an agent trying to drum up interest, or Eintracht Frankfurt looking to boost the player's value. Hugo Ekitike is a better option than Benjamin Sesko. If Arsenal are aiming for an instant impact striker, then Viktor Gyokeres and Alexander Isak are the clear front runners. Both are already established, proven goal scorers who could slot straight into Arteta's system and start delivering right away. But if the Gunners decide to take the long-term approach and invest in raw potential, then it comes down to Hugo Ekitike and Benjamin Sesko, and in that case, Ekitike looks like the better bet. The numbers speak for themselves. The French U21 international not only takes more shots, but also generates a higher expected goals XG tally than Sesko, which means he's statistically more likely to develop into a high-volume goal scorer over time. Beyond just putting the ball in the net, Ekitike also brings more to the overall build-up play. He completes more dribbles, creates more chances, and generally offers a greater attacking presence beyond just finishing. For Arteta and his analytics team, this shouldn't even be a tough decision. If they're going for potential, Ekitike is the standout choice. Mikel Arteta hints he could start one player at center back for the first time in his Arsenal career after Gabriel's injury. Arsenal are heading into a crucial stretch of the season with a full-blown defensive crisis, and it couldn't have come at a worse time, with massive games against Everton and Real Madrid on the horizon. Injuries have been a constant headache for Mikel Arteta this season. Not once has he had the luxury of a fully fit squad, and that lack of consistency has been a major hurdle in the Gunners' title charge. Now, things have gone from bad to worse. Gabriel Magalhaes has been ruled out for the rest of the campaign, while Jurrien Timber and Ben White remain doubtful for the Everton clash. If neither is fit in time, Arsenal could be looking at a real selection dilemma in defense. Desperate times call for desperate measures, and Arteta has already hinted at a potential emergency solution, converting one of his midfielders into a center back. It's not ideal, but with the season on the line, the Gunners may have no choice but to improvise. Mikel Arteta comments on starting Declan Rice as a center back at Arsenal. Declan Rice might be Arsenal's midfield general now, but let's not forget, he started his senior career as a center back at West Ham. His defensive instincts were honed at the heart of the backline before his technical ability and athleticism convinced the Hammers to push him into midfield. Now, with Gabriel Magalhaes ruled out and Ricardo Calafiori still not fit, Arsenal are desperately hoping that either Jurrien Timber or Ben White will be ready in time. But as things stand, their availability remains uncertain. That uncertainty has sparked serious concerns among Arsenal fans, especially with the prospect of Jakub Kiwior starting against Real Madrid. Some supporters have even suggested that Rice should drop into defense to provide a more secure option against one of the best attacks in Europe. Mikel Arteta was asked about that possibility in his press conference on Friday, and while he made it clear it's not his first choice, he didn't rule it out. "We would, yeah, for sure," Arteta confirmed. "We tried against PSV away last season, and he's played in that position. Hopefully it won't be needed, but if it is, he's a player that is capable of doing that. It's not the ideal scenario, but if Arsenal are forced to reshuffle, Rice stepping into defense could be a solution Arteta turns to. Declan Rice playing as a center back for Arsenal isn't just a theoretical idea, it's already happened. It wasn't from the start of a game, but during a Champions League clash against PSV in the 2023-24 season, Arteta was forced to make a defensive adjustment, bringing Rice on as a substitute for William Saliba. After the match, the Arsenal boss explained why he made that call, highlighting Rice's versatility and defensive qualities. "We are very short at the back, and I really wanted to try if something happened how we're going to resolve that situation, and I thought he was really good," Arteta said as quoted by Goal. "He has played there before. We have to try, as if we have an emergency. We have to understand and be sure that we can fill that gap in the right way." He has a lot of composure on the ball, he wins a lot of duels for a player of his size, and he has done it in the past. He is a good option. With Arsenal's current defensive crisis, those words might prove to be crucial. If Timber and White don't make it back in time, Rice dropping into the backline could go from an experiment to a necessity. Arsenal are interested in signing Leroy Sane on a free transfer. Leroy Sane could be one of the biggest names on the free agent market this summer, and Arsenal are reportedly among the clubs keeping a close eye on the situation. The German winger's contract is set to expire, and with Michael Olise now considered Bayern's main man out wide, Sane has slipped down the pecking order at the Allianz Arena. This season, he started just 13 Bundesliga games, his lowest involvement in years, suggesting he's no longer a key part of Vincent Kompany's plans. With game time becoming more limited, Sane might be tempted by a fresh start elsewhere. A player of his quality won't be short of suitors, and several top clubs are already lining up to snap him up on a free transfer, including Arsenal. Bringing in a player of Sané's caliber without a transfer fee would be a huge coup for the Gunners, but with strong competition expected, Arteta and Edu will have to move quickly if they want to get this deal over the line. Leroy Sane has been a key figure at Bayern Munich since making the switch from Manchester City in 2020, racking up over 200 appearances and finding the net 59 times. With nearly a decade at the top level, there was a time when he would have been considered one of the hottest commodities on the transfer market. However, not all Arsenal fans are convinced he's the right move. Some are wary of making the same mistake Chelsea did with Raheem Sterling, signing an aging former City winger on a short-term deal, only to see diminishing returns. That being said, Sané's contract is set to expire at the end of the season, meaning he could be available on a free transfer. Naturally, that has piqued the interest of several top clubs, with Arsenal Insider reporting that the Gunners' interest is very real. Mikel Arteta, who worked closely with Sané during their time together at City, is reportedly keen on a reunion, but there's a catch. Bayern players have a history of dragging out contract negotiations before ultimately committing their futures to the club. Just look at Joshua Kimmich and Alphonso Davies, both of whom were in similar situations over the past year but ended up staying in Munich. Right now, reports from Germany suggest Sané remains in talks over a new deal with Bayern, and many sources believe an agreement will eventually be reached. If that happens, Arsenal and any other interested clubs will be left empty-handed. While there are parallels to the Sterling situation, Sane has a lot more to offer at the top level still than his English counterpart. Contributing to 15 goals in the Bundesliga this campaign, the 29-year-old is a year younger than Sterling and excels in a number of areas statistically. Still a competent dribbler, Sane is a goal threat and contributes creatively to Bayern, signing him on a free transfer and allowing Arsenal to allocate the bulk of their resources to acquiring Alexander Isak for a substantial fee would be good business. On a short-term deal, Sane can cover both wings and has the ability to replace Gabriel Martinelli for a year or two. Down the line, the Gunners can invest in a top-level younger winger after having enjoyed a couple of seasons of Sane and Isak in their front line. Well folks, those were the main news for today. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated on everything happening with our beloved team, you know what to do. Subscribe to the channel now and hit the bell icon so you don't miss any updates. Thanks for joining us, and until the next video.